analogous to like a lot of the changes around like other things that have happened in high sec, and it's just less and less PvP in high sec, and which is fine if that's what CCP wants to do, but they should just announce that like high sec is a no PvP zone and just be done with it, rather than like slowly bleed away every little chance you have to do PvP in those areas. And to the point, and clearly people were not happy about that.
Well, look, I'll be bluntly honest. I have heard from some people that yes, that's what they want. They want high
Uh,
sec to be a no PvP area. I think that's bad, and I don't agree with it. And regardless, the one thing I will say is I'm gonna advocate against that. I'm also gonna advocate against anybody that wants to end ganking, because I think there needs to be some risk in every part of space. And if you make it too safe, then you're taking away what is fundamentally Eve. Uh, and I don't think there's a lot of people that want to push for that, though. So I think that's probably not likely. But I think that the goal is, if they fix the War Dec system right, it should be a benefit that's going to provide more opportunities for PvP from the people that want a PvP, but they don't want to be involved in low sec or null sec politics. And I think that's fair. And hopefully that there are more of those types of people out there than there are the Care Bears that don't want to, that just want to mine, uh, because apparently doing mindless activities is fun for them. I don't know. I'm not a miner. Uh,
Uh, Yeah, and another
so
thing I also have to mention that I know that there are some numbers of people who are who are earning a pretty good ISK from this incursion activity. But the problem is, before, to be completely safe, we had to join an NPC corps and pay this 11% taxes, which was really big impact on them. So right now we can stay in corp with no structure because we don't need one, and have a good ISK without having any risk. So that's not good thing at all.
okay.
I think shared hangars and taxes were actually a big draw to get players into corps that opened them up to wars. So I mean, this can be fixed by looking at corps along with a corp revamp of some sort, along with the War Deck revamp.
I think
Yeah,
I saw
Give
something.
some advantage to being in the player.
yeah, some idea. If your corp have no structures, when you have to pay 11% of your income, something like being NPC corp, that sounds fine to me.
But that
I
11,
think I saw Black Pedro post one, but I think it was Solstice document. I don't know. I just joined this Discord. I was reading up so they user, but remember seeing somewhere something being called a peace tax. Corpse without structures or lives without structures. Why could we implement a peace tax? Why can't that 11% carry over if you don't have a structure?
Yep, I completely agree with it.
but how do you really get that 11%? Because if they're mining, all they have to do is send everything to their alt that is in a corp that has a structure to sell it, and they don't have to pay the tax.
Yeah, they need to tax everything like and make it aggressive so that you can't evade taxes.
I
Yeah,
think people
exactly.
are
Yeah, or have
overinflating the
a
amount
fee
of
of some.
money that you can make in high sec. If you honestly think a corp can make a lot of money doing mining and PvE in high sec, then you're sadly mistaken, and you need to reevaluate how much income actually comes from a corp.
Well,
As a corp
the
leader who
problem
had
with
more
it,
than 300 people in their corp, the tax income is less than a billion ISK for several months.
well,
So
I think the point is that when you're in the NPC Corp, the tax is basically it's just an sync. Whereas when you're in a regular corp, then the money goes to someone, and that can be used for other things. Uh, but even then, I mean, that just creates the incentive to provide one man corp, so you're evading the taxes, and it's a tax evasion. I don't think it's a huge deal, but for somebody in high sec who thinks $1 million an hour is a lot of money, then that's something potentially that they may consider. Um, I don't think it's as big a deal as shared hangars, to be honest. And I don't think it's as big a deal as having corp esprit de corps and having a group of friends that are able to talk and share chat channels and stuff. So I think the social corp aspect is one thing, but um, I understand the point about folks not liking the structure changes, but I feel like that's probably something that is going to be part of this. And welcome to Nam Nam. I'm glad that he's here. And Amina is one of the other CSM members, and he says he's going to do everything in his power to make sure some form of good non-consensual PvP exists. He and I are on exactly the same page, and I agree 1,000%. And you're not going to see any, at least me, and I think a good number of the CSM are not going to be in favor of turning Empire Space or all of HiSec or whatever into some version of Ultima's Trammel, where you can't do anything but just look at each other. That's not Eve. That's just fundamentally not Eve. There should be no area space where you are 100% safe anytime. If you're undocked, there has to be some kind of risk. And I think we're all going to fight about that. We're going to fight in that regard. Yeah, and thanks, Meph. Thanks for pointing out. I mean, a lot of the stuff we've talked about today is basic stuff that was included in the War Dec project's list of stuff, and that is a good thing, at least in my mind, because it tells me that we're on the right track, because we're still talking about the stuff that people care about. And I've made sure, I know Falcon has given all of that stuff to Fozzie and Team 50 that are working on this, and I'll reiterate that with them. At this point, all the questions that I've asked are over with. I just want to throw it open with probably another 10 minutes or so. If there's anything folks want to bring up that we have not already talked about, I'd be happy to hear it, and I'll throw it open to all you guys and shut up. So
Okay, if you don't mind, I would like to mention this idea of redoing or improving the interface for War Decs, because as I said, it's completely terrible right now. So I'd like to get as much information as I can when I'm paying for
one thing I will say before you go into that, because I agree with you. Go ahead. I want you to talk about it. One of the things that the CSM is going to be bringing up, at least I know I am, and I think we talked about it internally, is we've already asked for a revamp of the corp backend, because there's a lot of stuff. The corporation backend, the alliance backend is really kind of just jury rigged, and it needs to be redone. But it's one of those things that I think they're kind of waiting on the postcode stuff to be finished with before they start. But I think we are going to be pushing for a revamp to corporation UI and mechanics, because a lot of that stuff is really old and it's not at all, where it needs to be. Go ahead, Eric. Sorry.
And another thing is maybe just consider that as an option. Maybe to think about changing the prices for the War Decks, because the thing is that, okay, I don't know what, not everybody is really happy about that, but we are paying a huge amount of money to having War Decks, and the most of the money are originating from this War Dec contract. So the funny thing is that I'm being paid for some wars, and I'm investing this money to the paying of another wars. That's it. That is how it's working, and that is why I think, like, right now the prices for War Dec. So the people who I keep talking about like, hey, let's make the prices for War Decs like higher and higher and higher. One more time, we are not thinking from the side of Merc Corps or HiSec PvP Corps. We're just thinking about two mining corps fighting to each other. But the thing is, it's really hard right now financially to maintain these 100+ wars. But the thing is, this is our meta. This is our gameplay. So the thing is, if CCP gonna say like, hey, we would like to ask you to pay more money for War Decks, that means like we just can, officially proclaim HiSec a safe place and no PvP available, and that's it. So maybe just to think about the money, because right now we're paying huge amount of money. Sometimes we even, have to buy some, plexus and invest into the game economy to keep all these War Decks up and running.
War Deck fee, I think, should be a little cheaper. I understand right now it's 50 standard, but I remember back in the day it used to be as low as 2, and we used to have a lot more War Decks between small groups and mercs being involved in things than we do today.
Sorry, I'm talking about the alliances, not for the small groups. 50 millions, it's completely okay, but I'm talking about these 500 millions for alliances. I'm not talking about the corps. For the corps, it's completely fine.
So, like, when you, like, for example, you want to War Deck Goon Swarm, it costs you 500 million a week. Yeah, stuff like that.
So it's exactly, if you want to fight with any major alliance in the game, it's gonna cost like 500 mils a week. I think that's a little bit too much.
Well, Eric, if you could tell us if it's not too OPSEC or anything, I mean, how much do you guys typically spend a week on War Dec fees?
Okay, if if a week has been good for a contract, we can spend something. If we are on full economy, so it's gonna be about 20 bills. If we are not like saving the money, we're spending 50 bills. Sometimes 100 bills can be spent as well.
Is that in a month?
In a week.
In a week, 100 billion in a week.
That could be. We don't have such monetary resources right now. So right now